Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Roster drama continuing to go down last night with major roster developments, especially Verno leaving NRG it seems and going apparently to MIBR. We theorised this the other day, but certainly with this change now apparently going down, Aspas making the shots at MIBR and Verno could be the man to come into the team. Remarkable from, let's say, a communication perspective, but if you don't speak, then there's nothing to call out. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into, starting here in the Chinese VCT. Because we had some big results happening, and well, as you'll see here, FPX are currently up 1-0 on Trace Esports Club. It's 7-5 on the map 2 on the Haven. The map 1 was 13-5 on the Icebox on TEC's pick. So yeah, lots going down here. Of course, this region's underway. I'm not really sure why the Americas and the other regions decided to wait another week and a half. I feel like they could have just got, I mean, it feels like the right time to have the leagues underway, and we do have it in China, but yeah, not in the rest of the world for now. But early doors, Edward Gaming got the win against Tyloo. That was a 2-0, a pretty dominant one at that, 13-7, 13-6 in the end. So Edward Gaming, understandably, back on top in their own region. I think that's also kind of the scary thing, right, is that there was a lot of talk about, oh, the teams that go to Bangkok, they won't be as well prepared because they won't have had time on the new meta and all this. But equally, you've got to understand that they've also had time on the main stage playing the other top teams in the world, getting better and refining their craft. You know, iron sharpens iron and all this. So I think that's the other thing to keep in mind, that teams like Edward and even others from the other regions getting back from the internationals should actually be even better positioned, I think, to really capitalise on this run. And maybe the same story here for Trace Esports. They won this. It was a 2-1. It was a close series. They lost to Lotus 13-11, and then they dominated the split. So kind of funny, isn't it, really? Because usually the split decider, that's the banger map. But on this occasion, we had two 13-11 banger maps and then an absolute blowout on the split of 13-1. Trace Esports got over the line. So yeah, Wolves, they, you know, 1-0 as well. Billy we saw the other day, and FPX look like they're going to be able to close out this win against Titan Esports Club, but you know, it is still all to play for at this present moment. Just to keep in mind as well, the Challenges is also about to get back underway. M80, TSM, Cubit, Envy, those are the losers bracket games, and massively important ones at that. We're going to discuss Envy over the coming minutes as well, with their results, rankers as you may otherwise know them, over the last few days. Interesting to see where Chet goes, if anywhere, because we know that Chet's ban after Bangkok is now over, so he can now compete again and coach the VCT team. I thought this is, you know, pretty funny, this TFT ruling. I'm not 100% familiar with exactly what happened here, so I'll just kind of scroll down and let you guys read it if you're interested, but it's a different game to Valorant, so I've not really done the due diligence and all the research on this type of stuff. But, you know, the bottom line is that Chet seemed to believe that if he'd have done something to this extent, and of course this is Riot Games kind of mandated as well, that he would have been cooked basically forever. So, yeah, certainly a competitive ruling in place here. As you can see, there's lots of details and information that I'm not probably fully going to understand if I'm not really following Team Fortress, which I am not. So anyway, they came to a conclusion that we're not satisfied with his performance, fell below the expected standards. His actions can be reasonably attributed to in-game adaptation. I'm sure there were some serious questions on it, and people in the replies are saying clown. The gist I get is that people thought that he kind of like threw, and well, Riot is saying that there's not enough evidence to suggest that's actually the case. But whatever you think, Chet says, me personally, I'd have received a lifetime ban for this type of behavior, right? And obviously people in the replies think that was pretty funny. Now let's talk about some of the Rostermania developments here, because first of all, apparently Kamek, who was, you know, benched from Team Liquid, is supposedly going to Gentlemates. Now this is a pretty big deal, and it definitely caused quite a lot of drama because Robbie BK was a pretty well-liked player on that Gentlemates team, and it seemed like he was doing a pretty good job. But the idea of bringing in Kamek is definitely a controversial one. Now it's worth keeping in mind, and VCT Scrims actually points this out in his own tweet, that these type of changes at this point almost become, I wouldn't say mandatory, but some of these teams will need to change something, right? So you guys will remember that this year they've changed the rules for the Ascension teams. So if you don't qualify as an Ascension team for, you know, Stage 2 playoffs or the World Championship, you basically get relegated. And if you're really bad, you just get straight up relegated. If you, like, do okay, then you get to at least play for your spot. But Gentlemates are an Ascension team. They won Challenger, they won Ascension last year. So their guest slots, the initial rule was it lasted for 2 years no matter what. Now the rule is that no, it lasts 1 year, and if you don't play well enough, you get relegated. That's basically how it works. works. And it's obviously tough for these teams, especially Gentlemates, but they are in a position now where if they don't make a change that they feel like is going to help their team, you know, the season, I wouldn't say the season really has only just got underway, but it does feel like we've been going here for some time, and they need to lock in big time, because if they don't, they are going to be cooked. And that's, you know, mainly the reason why I think they felt like with Kamek potentially available, they might have needed to try something. It may not work for them, right? It may backfire, but, you know, given the way that the game currently is, it's probably necessary that they need to try something at this moment. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. The other big development, well, this was actually one of them, RRQ. They're going to get Crazy Guy in instead of Estrella. This is interesting, right? Because Crazy Guy, of course, his role on Bleed Esports was, let's say, controversial, to say the very least. His relationship with Ye was rather well documented in the negative sense, you could argue. And, well, according to sources, and now this is from Sulgi, and, you know, he's got some things right and some things wrong recently, but reportedly Estrella is going to be gone from RRQ, and Crazy Guy is coming in as the in-game leader for the team. I will say pretty crazy still that these roster changes are all happening like now, because they, you know, could have happened at another time before the season was just about to begin. Super interesting to me that these teams have had weeks to practice, and then just before the season starts, they're like, actually, no, we're going to blow it up. And the same story is happening here with MIBR, because of course we know that Nozwa is gone, out the door, Aspas made the call, the team was going to make the change, and Verno is supposedly the man who's going to come in. Now, I like how Alejandro doesn't say reached a verbal agreement, because people were joking about like, oh, Verno can't reach a verbal agreement because he doesn't talk, right? Because we know that his comms were a subject of some discussion on the NRG days. And look, is he going to be speaking Portuguese? Unlikely. So, you know, they're making a serious transition here at probably MIBR to make this work. My question for you guys really is this a good move at all? Because I don't really know. Like, Verno is clearly a talented player. NRG saw it, Bonkar saw it, maybe he paid for it with his job, who knows. But, like, there's obviously some talent there. His execution in terms of his winning mentality, if you even want to call it that, was probably a letdown for NRG in the way that they wanted to build their team. It felt like there were chemistry issues there that were unresolvable, not even just from a communication perspective, but also from a pure mentality point of view. That didn't maybe seem like Verno was, you know, the most committed man to getting the job done that FNS and maybe the rest of the team might have wanted him to be. Is he talented? Absolutely, he's talented. But for MIBR, it's a serious risk. I mean, you're bringing on somebody with some mechanical skill, no doubt, and with a very high ceiling, and maybe with something to prove as well. That may be something beneficial for his, you know, commitment and his mindset and all this. And maybe for MIBR's options, there's some sense in this. But still, it's a strange one, isn't it? You bring in a player who doesn't speak the language which they were communicating in, a player who had some concerns around him. You know, this could easily backfire. Like, this could easily backfire substantially. But if it works, then I guess it works. So, yeah, intrigued to your thoughts on which way it's going to go in the comments below, because I'm really not sure what's going to happen here with MIBR going forwards. But, yeah, reportedly, an agreement has been made, and this is going to be a done deal in the very near future. So intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Few scrims to go through, very interesting stuff. We had Sentinels, they were playing Envy, of course, Rankers. We can see Eon and, of course, Baby J here as well. So, yeah, they were down 1-5, but it's early days, not too much to read into in that one. We also had this, M80 were playing Crew. That was 13-9. Of course, M80 currently sitting in the losers bracket. They're trying to get the job done again at Ascension this year. They were also 7-4 up on Crew in a different moment. I think this is around a pretty, you know, similar times. Maybe it was 7-4, and then of course it turned around the other way. M80 were down 9-10 to some team, we're not really sure. TSM was smoking the NBG guys, so, you know, interesting at least from TSM, because they are still in the losers bracket trying to make a run. There was this noted as well from VCT Scrims, that Talon were up 7-5 on Paper X. Probably no big deal, but there was actually a report that came out, an interview with Alex, of course, coach of Paper X, suggesting that their preparation hasn't been ideal, and he basically implies that they're not quite as prepared as they might like to be for the start of the season, right? They're talking about getting ready for things still, and they do suggest this. He plays Patmen in scrims well against us. We thought he was good, so we gave him a try and he did well. We'll see what happens when he gets his visa. So there seems to be a bit of a feeling here that Paper X aren't especially well prepared as they might like to be going into the start of the season, and even discussing, because the rumour had it that Patman was going to maybe come in a stage. If they were struggling, they might bring him in, but now Alex is saying, well look, when he gets his visa, we might just put him in straight away. Who that would be for, that's a big question. Tanam also playing Fennel, they're up 14-6 on that team, of course I think one of the Japanese teams that does rather well from time to time. Vitality were 14-2 up on, we think, the KPI team. Well, actually it says that right about here. Crew are up 7-0 on NRG as well. We've not seen much lately from NRG, but Mike's of course a new recruit for them. Brock, another new recruit for them instead of Verno. Maybe not all going to plan over there. So yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Lots of fascinating developments over the last couple of days or so, including this one actually. So we had EG. They were down 12-3 here to SRB, the SR Black team. So again, some of these VCT teams in the Pro League not looking especially great. We did have Sentinels up 10-6 on Envy as well. So it wasn't all bad news for Envy or for Sentinels after the result that we saw earlier. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.